Hello, I'm Antiderivative Jill, and this is Indefinite Lunch and Infinite Combinations number 37. I'm here today with Scotty R37 to review the next episode in production order, The Conscience of the King.
The conscience. It's pronounced conscience.
No, it's not.
No, I know.
Okay, but that's how you spell it. If you ever want to know, you can't spell conscience like just conscience. That's what I think of too.
Ditto. So there you go. I hope you learned something.
Yeah, and Pop Culture Curator couldn't join us today for the very first time in the history of Indefinite Lunch and Infinite Combinations. He's out on an away mission today, but he'll be back next week to talk about Galileo 7 with us, which
Nice.
I can't wait. That's one of my favorites.
Me too.
A big Spock episode. But I still want you to remember to subscribe to his channel to catch his animated Star Trek series reviews.
And Gilligan's Island.
And Gilligan's Island on Wednesdays. So he'll probably have a Gilligan's Island because he'll be back by then. So
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. I haven't heard of any cancellations of that yet.
Is Pop Culture Curator reviewing Gilligan's Island a replacement for reviewing Star Trek Voyager?
Probably because he's not going to watch Star Trek Voyager. If he has problems with the Next Generation, there's no way he's going to watch a watered down version of the Next Generation.
Right. So, if you'd like to hear Pop Culture Curator's review of Star Trek Voyager, it happens every Wednesday. It's called Gilligan's Island, but same thing.
Yeah, same thing. That's what I think of. Well, I think of Voyager as Gilligan's Island, except the really, really good episodes, I elevate it to the Odyssey.
Did you ever see that one episode of Gilligan's Island where Gilligan and the skipper, they go really, really fast and then they turn into salamanders and then they have sex and have babies? That's my favorite episode of Gilligan's
Yes, but I saw it in animated form and it plays much better that way with the silly sounds and everything.
It does. It does. What about that one time on Gilligan's Island when there was some sort of accident in a cave? And the professor and Mr. Howell, they became the same person. And it was Prowl. And then there was this whole thing where they had to separate them. But Prowl was like, I swear, I'm a human being and I have the right to live. And then,
what? That would be a good episode. I would watch that. That would be terrifying.
It would be terrifying. Professor and Mr. Howell? That would be crazy. Anyway.
No. Mr. Howell would say, no, we should stay like this because we could take over the world together.
Don't you understand? I know how to make things out of coconuts and I have a ridiculous amount of money. I'm a person. Anyway, sorry. This is a ridiculous skit.
Well, I'm enjoying it too much. I should say hello to the chat. Hello to Edge of Time, Pop Culture Curator. I don't know. I guess I'd have to go on the YouTube site to see what those emojis are. See, this is why I always have YouTube up. And today I thought, I don't need YouTube. And you know what? It's not true.
Cardinal Sin is here. Hey, Cardinal Lemon is here. Yeah, Miss Queen Jess is in the chat doing a face palm.
Well, what did we do to earn that?
I think it was my Jim Backus impression.
I liked it.
Okay. Captain Fandom Nerd. Again, Pop Culture Curator, and hail the Edge of Time.
Hello, Cardinal Sin. I know you already said hi to him, but I didn't yet. And yeah, Miss Queen. Yeah, thanks for saying hello in the chat. Captain Fandom Nerd. Cool. Great to see you guys here. And yes, confirmation that there will be a Gilligan's Island stream. But no transporter cave accident. I don't know. Wait.
Do you remember that one episode of Gilligan's Island when no, I can't even, I don't know enough Voyager episodes to cross them over.
There's lots of choices.
I'm
especially
sure
especially where they think they're going to be able to get home, but they can't.
Remember
And
that
that's
one?
what makes you think of Gilligan's Island.
Yeah, no, like that one episode of Gilligan's Island when they walked into a cave and there was mist, and then they ended up in this ancient Irish town. But then the ancient Irish town, it knew that they were like, they knew that they were magic and not hologram ghosts, I guess. Do you ever see that episode of Voyager where Janeway falls in love with the Irish guy?
Um, yeah, I'm pretty sure I have. I've seen all of real Star Trek from 66 to 2005, but probably Voyager is the one that I don't rewatch enough to reference. And,
Yeah, me too. I'm stumbling around in the dark, but I'm
I
having
think he did
fun
great.
pretending.
And Cardinalson thinks he did a great Jim Backus.
Thank you.
So, and Pop Culture is driving home for a 3-hour drive, so he'll lurk and listen today.
Yeah.
And we can't wait for you to get back. We know we're missing out on some cool background information and some stuff, but bring it next week because I want to know all about you know Galileo 7. Can't wait for that.
I watched this whole Star Trek episode where Kirk and Spock are like underwater and they kind of mutated and stuff. And there's so much going on in that episode. And I was really excited to talk about it last night, but I guess I have to wait.
Yes, you have to wait for Monday. Next Monday, the animated series. All of that sounds wild because if you haven't seen the episode, but the animated series can get really fun. And,
yes,
and we'll have that fun on Monday.
hit that like. Thank you, Matt G. Hey, Matt
Yeah,
G.
yeah. Hello, Matt.
Euler Greg. Euler Greg, I have a question for you. It's not Ginger or Marianne. It's Bailana or 7 of 9. Now I'm a Bailana man myself. Anyway,
Why are those the choices?
I don't know.
Oh, just Voyager. Okay. Good.
Anyway, murder.
Yeah, murder.
Well, that's what it looks like. That's
Yeah,
what we're doing, right?
Yeah, we're doing pretend murder.
Well, we don't know that yet.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Spoiler.
Don't you want to go? Don't you want to? When was this originally aired?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I do want to say that.
We do have a structure
I
to
actually,
this show.
I usually do that, but I forgot. Oh wait, maybe
Yeah.
I have it.
See, Pop Culture Curator keeps us honest. We know
Okay,
that there's an order of operations when he's around.
that's right. Oh, for reference to the production of these episodes, all the facts I share comes from Star Trek 365 by Paula M. Block and Terry J. Erdman. And the idea to use this text as a source comes from our friend Raquel Briggs, who's featured on the Clobberin Times channel. So you should subscribe to Clobberin Times and read her amazing short stories. And also, today is a very big day for Raquel because her book's coming out today. Her actual physical copy of these stories are being put together, and either paperback or hardback, your choice. I don't have the link to any of that yet or anything. I don't know when it goes live, but I know that at 8 p.m. today, Clobby's going to have a stream about it. So go to Clobberin Times at 8 p.m. Central today to learn more about that, and I'll be watching to see how best I can help promote this book, because if you get it, you get an extra story that you can't get digitally.
Support your creators. And Subcommander Tall.
He says Star Trek 365 is a good resource. Yes, and I thank Raquel Briggs for helping me figure that out. And
8 o'clock tonight.
Doesn't mind more people reading it.
Over on Clobberin Times, there's going to be that's where the party is. That's where the book
party is what I wanted to say. A party for her book. I'm celebrating it. I'm excited.
Yes.
So, The Conscience of the King first aired on December 8th, 1966. It was written by Barry Trivers and directed by Gerald Oswald.
Not familiar names to me.
Me neither. I should have done a bit more research on that.
No, but it's interesting because there are recurring directors and writers throughout.
There are. Usually I think, hey, I've heard this name before.
Yeah.
Hello, Snortipoopus.
Hey, Snortipoopus. Hello, humans and other critters.
And so on stage, a velvet clad arm raises a bloody knife and plunges it again into his sleeping victim. And Captain Kirk is watching Macbeth with Dr. Layton. He's drawn the Enterprise here on false pretenses because he believes the actor playing Macbeth to be Kodos, the executioner. And we get the first captain's log, stardate 2817.6. Starship Enterprise diverted from scheduled course, purpose to confirm discovery by Dr. Thomas Layton of an extraordinary new synthetic food that would totally end the threat of famine on Cygnia Minor, a nearby Earth colony.
Soylent Green.
But of course, we know that all of this is a lie. And why does any. My main question here, why does any Federation planet have any issue with famine when it's been wiped out on Earth? So,
I
don't know.
I think it would be an issue of resources on
For
each
sure.
planet.
Right. Then why do they should just evacuate the planet then? And go to a different planet because there's lots.
Or, you could kill half the population and call it square.
Yeah. Well, if only the supply ship would have gotten there sooner.
There were difficult decisions to be made.
Yeah. There were. And Euler Greg says, "Don't blame me. I voted for Kodos."
I voted for Kang, Greg.
I was wondering, you know what? I think that Matt Groening actually does like this episode.
Oh, for sure.
So.
But this, it's kind of weird. This episode very much reminds me of a Star Trek The Next Generation episode. Now, I don't mean one specifically, but this is a purely character driven episode.
And you don't just mean all the Shakespeare, because that is heavily featured in Next Generation.
It is heavily featured in Next Generation, and maybe that's why this reminds me of an episode of TNG. But I just feel like this is an episode where I have not watched this in so long. You know how people have this sense that Kirk is just a reckless individual who whatever he pleases.
Right. People
He's
think that
literally doing that. This episode is Jim Kirk using the Enterprise as his car. I don't think that there is much order going on. I think that he is doing something that is strictly personal, and he does it again.
He is. Yeah, it is personal. It is personal until Spock figures it out.
Well, yes. Once they come to the same conclusion independently, then everything works out. But this is an episode that it is all about backstory, character development, and what Jim Kirk can get away with when he's in command of the Enterprise.
He still does have restraint because he wants vengeance, but he doesn't take it upon himself to take that.
Well, and he does. He wants beyond a shadow of a doubt proof before he starts going to make willy-nilly accusations.
Yes. So Kirk does have restraint in his cowboy diplomacy.
It is cowboy diplomacy. Agreed.
So there's no discovery. There was nothing to do with the food, of course. Langton just believes that Anton Caridian is Kodos from Tarsus 4. And Kirk doesn't believe it because history tells him Kodos is dead. But Layton points out that Kodos was burned beyond recognition, so nobody could be sure it was him. And on this point, of course, in the late 60s, we didn't really know about DNA testing yet, and that doesn't come around until the late 70s. So we can't fault the episode for not knowing about that or anything. That kind of identification.
Sub-Commander Tall in the chat says, what I like about early TOS in particular is that although it was set in the future, there were cultural traditions, like theater, that survived. Me
That's a
too.
good point. I like that too.
Um,
And we continue our culture.
well, and also, this is, okay, so Dr. Layton is friends with Jim. I don't know Dr. Layton's first name. But
Um,
Dr. No, but this
mhm.
is it's a very interesting character interaction simply because these are three friends. This isn't Captain James Kirk of the USS Enterprise. This is Jim. She's concerned about her husband. Her husband wants to, get rid of the evil man who killed 4,000 people. 4,000 people.
4,000 to save thousands of others. Yeah,
They do hide his sort of face mask,
they do. And it isn't, at first you think it's just his eye, but it's really the whole
like
side of his face.
half his head.
Hmm.
So I'd be upset too.
Yeah, he has every reason for sure.
That is the biggest eye patch I've ever seen.
So, in the briefing room of the Enterprise, Kirk does some research on Governor Kodos of Tarsus 4, also known as Kodos the Executioner. He then compares this research on Anton Caridian. The computer gives a pretty great background, so I'll read it. I like this investigation. For
Yeah.
Kodos, the computer says, Kodos the Executioner,
Can
summary.
you say it? Can you say it like the computer?
No,
Okay.
Governor of Tarsus 4, 20 Earth years ago, invoked martial law, slaughtered 50% of the population, Earth colony, that planet. Burned body found when Earth forces arrived. No positive identification. Case closed. Detailed information follows. And for Anton Caridian, the computer says, director and star of traveling company of actors sponsored by Galactic Culture Exchange Project, touring official installations last 9 years. Has daughter Lenore, 19 years old.
Oh, Lenore.
Yeah, then Kirk finds out there's no identification records for Caridian or any information whatsoever 20 years ago. He compares their appearances, and this part is weird to me because okay, so here's the appearance.
Okay.
And he puts them side by side
Mm-hmm.
to have an image of. It makes sense to have an image of Caridian, but if you have an image of Kodos, then why does it matter if you only have 9 witnesses?
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, I didn't get that either. I'm
I don't know.
trying to get
Uh,
it. I'm trying to figure
Maybe
out
I'm
why.
missing something. I could be
Yeah.
missing something. I just don't know.
Well, and yeah, because it's the last 9 people who have who saw him.
Yeah, right.
Is
Before
it
he disappeared. Yes.
is it yeah, so I don't know. I don't understand why, like, if he's the governor of the planet, then obviously he would have been elected or appointed by someone.
Yeah. Anyone who survived is basically a witness.
Yeah,
So that's thousands of people.
I don't
So the
know.
witness thing is the thing of this episode that I think is a bit weak.
Yes, but it does set it up. So
Sure.
it,
Sub Commander Tall says, doesn't it seem like Jim Kirk knew everybody in the Federation? So many times we encounter old friends, lovers, teachers, guys he knew at the academy. Yeah,
yeah,
Kirk is a social butterfly.
he's just, okay. Yes, he is very popular. I will accept that.
Snortopoopus Cuber says, cowboy diplomacy is very important. We can't have cowboys running amok throughout the galaxy.
There's no fighting in the war room. Oh yeah, and Sub Commander Tall, I think this is a better Obsession episode than Obsession. I agree with you.
Oh, this is a great point on the technology. Snortopoopus says, no facial recognition technology either. It hasn't been invented yet in the 60s. Yeah, Lieutenant Riley is in this episode. He is.
Second and last appearance of
It's
Lieutenant Riley.
that's too bad. I really like him.
He obviously was incarcerated for attempted murder.
Oh.
Don't you think? That's where he went.
Oh, right. Of course. But he of course
But
that's what's happening.
this is where Spock says, "What's going on?
Yeah.
You've diverted us 3 light years, and now you want to take us somewhere that's going to be and we're way off course, man." Is what
Mhm.
Spock is saying.
Yeah, this is the first time he's noticing something weird happening.
This is a really good Spock and McCoy episode as well.
Yeah, for Spock, the whole thing is a mystery he has to put together that Kirk is keeping from him. And they have a cocktail party. Oh no. I don't know why this phone number keeps trying to call me.
It's probably because they're wondering if you're satisfied with your long distance rates.
Yeah, that would be funny because I don't have a landline.
Right. So
Oh, Snortopoopas has a nicer idea than going to prison. He says Riley got a job working in Irish opera and left Starfleet.
and now we're going to sing the Irish classic Kathleen one more time. And people paid.
I would.
Quick question. Can you go back one?
Sure.
Okay, so when was the last time you served drinks with a tray in your home?
Never?
Yeah, that's my answer as well.
Okay. And but I've seen it in movies and stuff, so I figure some people do it.
I have never been to someone's house and they served me drinks on a tray.
No, because that feels like a great way to have drinks spill all over everywhere.
Well, not if you're a good host.
I guess not. I guess you're right.
It's classy. I've just never had it happen.
Me neither.
I
Maybe.
usually, I usually just give people whatever I have in mason jars. Maybe Riley and Finnegan could form a singing comedy duo. Yes, they would
Yes.
be the oh my stars, the Dean and Martin. No, not Dean and Martin. Oh, who was the other guy?
Yeah.
It was Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis. So it could be Martin and Lewis.
Okay.
That took way too long. I'm sorry to everybody listening. We can edit all of this out in post.
Sure. Snortopoopas says, and there she is, Lenora Ceridian, with her "my hair is as big as Rand's" look. Yes, that is a point. This is the last episode we get to see Lieutenant Rand.
Yes.
And Yeoman Rand, until
Not,
the motion picture.
Until when she kills Solok. And
She doesn't kill them. It's the transporter accident. It's an accident.
Yeah, it's an accident.
And she's horrified by it.
Yes, she was. Hey, Tim the Enchanter.
Cardinalson says, Scotty, you are an international treasure. And hey, Gorilla. Oh, Gorilla, would you like a link? If anybody wants a link, I have in the scrolling bar down here that if anybody knows the episode and wants to join the panel, just let me know. I can send you the link on Twitter. But yeah, so that's why it's important to read the bottom, because it tells you information about how to be on the panel.
Yep.
And you just message me in the chat, and I'll connect with you on Twitter and bring you into the conversation if you'd like. So I'll send one to Gorilla. And all you have to do is ask.
I think he just did.
Yeah, I did. So I sent one. I sent him a link.
All right, I didn't mean to yell.
So Kirk is taken with Lenore immediately, so much that he uh, lets her take his drink.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think that he compliments her performance as Lady Macbeth, and I think that she's kind of boring the whole episode. But I realize, but in the end, it makes sense why she is. It's because she's been acting the whole time.
And
So she,
I don't want to be rude, but you know how they say that certain people were like born old? This lady in this episode probably, I don't know, 25, 26.
I don't know how old she is in reality. She's definitely not 19.
She's not 19. She looks like 39. And I think she probably throughout her entire life looked 39.
That's not a bad age to look like though.
It's not a bad age. But yes, Kirk is rather taken with her.
Yeah, she yes.
Finity.
Yeah, hello Captain Finity. How are you doing? Um
Yeah, but if you're 26 and you look 39, that wouldn't that suck?
yeah, I guess so.
I guess.
Sub Commander Tall says I think she was only 20 or 21, but I know what you mean by seeing older. Seeing her older.
She looks 26, even though she was only 20. I don't mean any disrespect.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Walter Matthau was always 40. Like he was 16 and he looked 40. Although I guess if you're a lady and I compare you to Walter Matthau, that's not a compliment.
No, but she doesn't look like Walter Matthau at all.
She does not look like Walter Matthau.
She looks much better than that.
Yes.
And also hello to Captain Finity and Tim the Enchanter. Hey, welcome to the chat.
I know.
Oh, thank you for giving us her name. Sub Commander Tall says, I know this is one of Barbara Anderson's first TV performances. And Spock is 36 in this season. Whoa. I'm the age of Spock in this episode. Okay.
Well, no, Leonard Nimoy was 36.
Yeah, I know. Not Spock. Right. Leonard Nimoy.
Maybe. I could be wrong. I don't know.
No, that's right. I don't know. He is a relatively young Vulcan because he hasn't had his Palm 4 yet. And welcome to the stream, Gorillas Random Thoughts.
Hey there.
Hey, how are you doing?
Hey, Gorilla.
Yeah, you guys are being way too nice to this episode.
We haven't even started the episode. We're just talking about the party.
Yeah.
You're talking about how they didn't have DNA and all that stuff. They could have had something in there where they could have tested his genes or even tested.
That's what we knew about that. Is.
No. We've been doing gene manipulation back since the 30s.
Yeah, I know. We knew about genes, but we didn't know about using it for crime. I meant using it in terms of assessing whether someone is a criminal or not is something that happened in the late 70s. I do realize that we discovered about genes and stuff, and
yeah, so they could have easily tested that being 200 years in the future.
Well, yeah, but it's a certain use of the science and technology that was not discovered yet, and so the use of those genes was not something that was conceived in the 60s yet. So you can't judge it based on the science that we know today.
Well, and my problem with that, and I'm going to sort of side with Gorilla on this, is even a body burned beyond recognition. Do you have any idea the temperature it takes to burn teeth?
Mm-hmm.
Like there would have been dental records. It's like
dental records. That's a good point.
Like the whole setup for this episode is a little far-fetched.
Yeah, you're telling me that only 9 people out of the whole colony could recognize him,
right.
when he was when he's a governor.
Well, we did mention that. You're absolutely right on that point. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, and he's a governor. The governor there. I can recognize at least 40 out of the 50 governors we have in the states here.
Mm-hmm. Well, Well, yes,
This
and,
time,
and it's
yeah.
obvious. Yes, we did mention that though. That there should have been thousands of witnesses who know what he looks like. Plus, we have the visual records on the library computer, so that part
Yeah.
of it
And
was
they
touched upon.
then they even did voice recognition too.
Right.
That wasn't they didn't have that back in the 60s.
Oh yeah, we haven't gotten to that part yet, but no, I'm not saying that's part of the science fiction that Star Trek is able to do sometimes, but what I'm saying is that they're not always successful. They couldn't predict using
Yeah, and they could
DNA
predict it. And they should have
for
been able to predict
time.
that the computer could do facial recognition. We have that technology now.
We do have that technology now.
But in terms of the pressing for proof in this episode, like I think it's a 97% voice match, and Kirk is like, that's not close enough.
Yeah, right. He needed 100. Well, really, it was because he wanted to feel that it was right, because he said logic isn't enough.
Yes.
So anyway, Kirk learns from Lenore that Caridian doesn't attend parties or get personal as a rule. So they decide to go for a walk non-professionally. But before they can really get non-professional, they find Tom Layton's body.
Yes. Tom.
And yeah, he's dead. Tom, that's his first name.
Yeah, he's dead.
Okay,
Thanks,
he's dead.
Jill. Remind me to ask you to perform my eulogy.
Oh.
Yeah, he's
That's
dead.
Scott. Well, what am I supposed to say? He's collapsed in the desert.
We discover Tom Layton crumpled beside a rock. Jim's good friend. He is passed. He's been murdered. Why would Lenore take us there?
Well, maybe she wanted him to be discovered.
Well, I guess he has to be. Yeah.
Yeah, and she pretends to be surprised.
She does.
And Tom's body's laid out on the couch, and Martha covers it. And now more than ever, she finally suspects that her husband was right, and Kirk's going finally in on this investigation.
And Mrs. Layton, I think, is one of the few women in Star Trek history who absolutely has no interest in Jim Kirk.
That's true. She doesn't. Well, I mean, but she just lost her husband.
I know, but it's strange. It's something that you don't see very often. Even remember Tomlinson? Was it Tomlinson's wife or fiance? Even she sort of was like doughy-eyed.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Yeah, Sub-Commander Paul says, yes, the setup is hard to believe, but clearly based on the popular 60s tropes and stories about Hitler and other Yazis faking their own death and escaping Argentina or whatever.
That makes sense.
And, he's quoting me, but before they can really get non-professional. Yeah, thank you. Stormpoopus says, Star Trek was typical of Hollywood not correctly guessing specific scientific progress or lack thereof. They had Earth launching cryogenic sleeper ships in the late 1990s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I think Star Trek did the best it could. And
I believe Walt Disney wasn't in the 50s he froze himself to try to come back to life.
His head.
Was it just his head?
No, it's the whole body.
What? Oh, I thought it was just his head.
I think that it's his whole body. Just let us know in the chat when Walt Disney passed away, did they cryogenically freeze his head or his whole body? Let us know.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I really never looked that up. I just hear jokes about his head, so maybe the whole body. Maybe. It would make more sense if it was the whole body.
So therefore you heard jokes about it.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's things you hear about. You don't necessarily always research everything in life, but this is just one of those things that I hadn't researched, and so I would
Cardinal Sin
definitely
says
appreciate.
Walt Disney froze his head. That's the rumor, anyway. No, I don't think Walt Disney froze his head because he would have been, passed on. Someone he had
Well,
like
he hired somebody to
he had
freeze
a bunch.
him.
He had a team of Imagineers.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, the truth about that. Let's see. Well, I don't know. I don't
You can
know.
hear
Does
about it.
anybody know?
You can hear about it all next week on our mini series podcast, Walt Disney's Head, a
No,
All right,
journey into cryogenics.
it was
all right,
probably. It
Jill.
would
I
make
gotta go
sense
eat
to listen
lunch
to the
though,
pod.
real quick. So
Okay.
I'll see you there. I got everything out that I wanted to say.
Okay,
Cool.
great.
We'll
Yeah,
be.
no, those are great points. But even given that premise, I think when the story goes, it gets beyond that point. It gets better.
Thanks, Gorilla.
Yeah, thank you, Gorilla. See you later. Have a good lunch.
Hey, Eugene.
So Snortopoopas Cuber says it took Martha Layton at least a week to realize that she had hugged Kirk, by which time he was half a galaxy away.
Fair enough. Her name was Martha? Why did you say that name? And
Hey,
that's when
you found a
Captain Kirk figured out that he and Superman could be friends.
you found a comic book movie I actually saw.
Yeah. Wow.
Nice. Eugene Bird said, "I don't think he'll want to come back, Scotty."
Well, not if you're just ahead.
Arnelson says Walt Disney got an ice cream headache.
Walt Disney is an ice cream headache.
Mm. Could you read this for me?
I would be happy to. Sub Commander Tall says to Snortopoopas, good point. It's like reading old Asimov novels where they have faster than light travel, but are still using typewriters and smoking cigarettes. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Snopes says false. Fact check.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Edge of Time. I don't know. I'll have to look into that more myself. But
I can't believe you
really have
used
no idea.
Snopes. All right.
Disney.
Thank you,
Okay. Okay. Pop culture curator says Disney did not freeze anything. It was only a rumor. Thank you. So he was cremated or something. I don't know. Anyway, where were we in this episode?
Well,
this is just what happened to Walt Disney's Body podcast.
Tom, well, and you know what? Subscribe, like, hit that bell. So yeah, no, Martha and Jim, they hug. Martha is like, you know what? You're not my husband. I'm leaving, and we'll never see her again. And then Kirk says, "Beam me up," I guess.
Yeah.
Well, where is he on the next slide?
Well, actually, here he's doing something important. He's having Captain John Daly of the Astral Crane. He's telling him forget about picking up the Caridian
troop,
and let me do it. And that's it. Then we can go back to the Enterprise. And suddenly,
it was a fun interaction though with the freighter captain, and it's like I forget his name, but it was like, hey, can you do me a favor? And the captain's like, I owe you like 13. I'll do whatever you say. And it's just like, again, this is an episode where it's like Kirk's friends. He is using the Enterprise as his car. He can do whatever he wants.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he's doing what he wants. That's right. And suddenly, Lenore shows up on the Enterprise, and he knows somebody from the troops coming over.
Hey, Mr. Brown is here.
Hey, Mr. Brown. Because he knows they're going to need a ride.
I think we're due for a pickup.
Yep. And Spock has no idea how Kirk could even know this because Kirk hasn't told him anything.
Exactly. And that's what I mean. Like when Spock doesn't know what's going on, you can tell that he starts doing his job harder.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. And Lenore asks Kirk if the Enterprise will transport them to their next stop. And the Enterprise will transport them in trade of a performance from her crew. And Captain Finity says recycling.
Subcommander Tal has asked for a chair at the table to discuss conscience of the king.
Oh yeah, that would be great. I think I do have you on Twitter, so I'll send you a link. Here we go. And, just a moment here.
But yeah,
Read this.
I will read that.
Please.
Snortapoopa says Disney's mummified remains are preserved in the castle at Disney World, waiting for the day when he will come back as Emperor Walt I, ruler of Earth. True story. That's the way I imagine it. My God. My voice sounds like I'm a chain smoker. Meanwhile, back at the age of 39, there we go. There's the last time we ever see Janice in the original series. No lines, just who are you? And if I may swear, bitch.
Yeah, that's the kind of face she looked, but she doesn't have to act because she knows it's her last day. She knows at this point she's been fired and she's not happy. And so that whatever true feeling she has works really well in this moment.
Well, in
a sad way.
It's a sad exit. I miss Janice.
I do too. And I'm going to her presence was great. And if you want to learn more about her, Pop Culture Curator has read the book The Longest Trek and her tour of the galaxy, and he would have been able to tell us more. We know that she was hurt at a party, and that person was never found out, unfortunately. And of course, it would have been better if they'd left instead of her.
See, Snortapoopas gets it.
Mm-hmm.
Are you flirting with my man? Die, witch. Exactly. Don't worry, Janice. I'm looking at your legs.
Oh, right, from Miri.
Yes. I don't mean, I'm not just.
Yeah, that's not from nowhere.
Right.
That's from the last episode. And welcome to the stream to Sub Commander Tall. It's great to meet you, actually, because I like your stuff on Twitter. How are you doing?
Thank you very much. I'm doing well. I'm just chopping some broccoli in advance of dinner, and was interested in popping in. I like this episode quite a bit. I haven't thought about it in a while.
Mm-hmm. Nice to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you.
Really great to hear from you. And continuing with the episode, we have a captain's log, stardate 2818.9. There are many questions in my mind, too many perhaps, about the actor Caridian and his daughter. For personal reasons, I am afraid to learn the answers.
Meanwhile, in sick bay, McCoy is getting wasted.
But wait, before that, I forgot something.
While
the Enterprise heads to... Oh, how do I pronounce this?
Benicia? Benicia is what they say in the episode, but I don't know if that's the correct pronunciation, but they say Benicia.
If they say Benicia, then that's the correct one. Thank you. Kirk heads over to Spock's science station to access the library computer, where he has the list of witnesses who of Kodo. So he stops at hearing the name Riley, and he demotes him back to engineering from communications, which is puzzling to Spock. And so that's
it's kind of puzzling to me too. Mm-hmm. What benefit is there?
That's a good question.
Engineering.
Yeah, I'm not sure I ever thought about that, but I mean, obviously he was just as much a target there as anywhere else.
Is it like putting him in the bowels of the ship kind of thing?
I guess. I mean, there was that sense early on in the first season that engineering was very remote, and they hardly ever went down there. I think the first time they went down there was Enemy Within, and it was they gradually built that set up. It became more important, and they shot more scenes in there. So at this point, though, I think there's still a feel like this is a really obscure part of the ship, and no one's going to find you there.
Well, that makes sense.
That does make sense, especially in this episode, since when we do see Riley, he's alone in engineering.
Yeah, which seems crazy, really, to one guy operating the massive antimatter, matter warp engines or whatever. But that was the feel, that submarine feel they were going for.
Yeah, that is a good question. Thank you. And now we have McCoy enjoying a drink while listening and essentially dismissing all of Spock's concerns about Captain Kirk's behavior.
It does seem like because they've been sort of they're off course. They're diverted. This seems like everybody is like, okay, we don't really have to do much right now except run the ship. And that's fine. We're not in trouble. Everything is tickety-boo.
Yes.
Yeah, well, like you said earlier, I mean, there's no real external urgency. This is all just like a personal story. This is like a personal character story, and that's exactly what it is. It's very much they're doing their day-to-day thing. There's not a galactic crisis or anything like that. It's the captain who's starting to have doubts about this mysterious person
from his past.
I do like that in the early episodes, it was McCoy who was really more the lush rather than Scotty. That kind of happened later. But there's a number of episodes where it's always McCoy who's got the booze.
Oh, my. I don't think we ever clipped it, but we should certainly, moving forward, and I'll see if I can find it. I need the clip of Captain Kirk saying, "Give me the brandy."
I will clip that for you. I'll make a note of that.
Thank you.
I just bought myself one of those bottles last year. I think it was last year. Those they were this gunpowder horn Dickel whiskey bottle that was, I guess, popular. I don't know if it was popular or not, but there's a bunch of them you can find on eBay, and they just paint the straps red, and it has that alien look. So it's
nice.
They're really neat.
And I think is it Aldebaran? No, that's not Aldebaran whiskey. It's Saurian brandy. Saurian brandy bottle, and I think there's a bottle of the same shape at Quark's.
Oh, interesting.
And Snorpoopus says there's a lot of debate about where engineering was, but most people believe it was somewhere in the secondary hull.
That's where I think it is.
On the Playmobil Enterprise, says Captain Infinity, engineering is at the back. A little But yeah, the Playmobil Enterprise is not quite accurate, but it's cute.
Well, I mean, that could be a huge digression. There's been debate over many years about where engineering is located. I'm definitely with you in thinking that it's located in the secondary hull. But I think in the old, the Franz Joseph technical manual, they show the engine room being in the impulse deck. But anyway, you can get into whatever obsessive detail you want about it. But yeah.
True. Yeah, check out a technical manual and figure it out.
Snortopoopa says, sadly, Grace Lee Whitney took the name of the person who assaulted her to her grave. Nimoy supposedly knew who it was, but he kept it a secret too. Chances are the person who did it is dead too.
Yeah, probably.
Hey, John Rendell.
Hello, John Rendell. And Snortopoopa says, I think there was a scene that showed the ceiling of engineering briefly, and it was curved, like the top of the engineering hole. I can't remember which one it was.
I don't remember.
Yeah, but this scene is also the first time we learned that Vulcans are not affected by alcohol.
Yeah, good for them.
Sometime later, not in the series. Actually, Why do I think that they can be drunk from chocolate? Where does that come from? Like I I feel like I heard that somewhere, but I don't know where I'm thinking that from. If anybody knows where this idea is.
I don't know.
Like it might not even be canon. It might like be from something external. So, I don't know. If anybody knows, let me know why that thought is in my head.
That's a new one on me. I haven't heard that one.
So, on the observation deck, Lenore
Which is crazy cool. I love that there's an observation
Totally.
deck. This is the only time you see it in the original series.
That's true.
Oh, wait. Maybe they go to the observation deck in that one episode where they recreate the Enterprise on the overpopulated planet. I forget what it's called. But
Mark of Gideon. Yeah, I think they go somewhere similar. I mean, maybe it was even some of the same set dressing, but I don't think they call it the observation deck. I'm not sure, but there is that window where they look out and see all the people in their jumpsuits.
Oh,
either way.
Okay.
But it's a beautiful set.
I like it too.
And even and we sort of talk about the remastered special effects versus the original broadcast. And I like the fact that they didn't do like a quick insert cut of the shuttle bay. Like, I like that they kept it true to how the episode was presented, as opposed to inserting special effect shots for nerds like me.
Well, I 100% agree with you on that. I mean, I think the effects for their day are pretty amazing generally, but even when they're not, there's something charming about them, and they're very much of a piece with the aesthetic of the series. So I always go for the original effects most of the time.
And yeah, I'm still remiss in watching the original effects. I need to go and watch it all over again that way.
That doesn't sound like a bad time.
No, not at all. So where was I?
Lenore and Kirk
no. Okay,
flirting.
so somebody answered my chocolate question. Where I heard that from? It's from Star Trek IV novelization.
Oh, that's neat.
Thanks, Yamas.
Because I know I heard it somewhere and then internalized it, but I didn't know where it came from. Thank you. And Captain Finity said that Star Trek IV didn't care about the consequences of the timeline from stealing 2 whales. But anyway, we're not talking about Star Trek IV today. And most of this scene I would have completely ignored as irrelevant myself, but with retrospect, I realized that she's echoing the philosophies of her father, in concern with that technology could be diminishing humanity. And she says, has the machine changed them, made them just people instead of women? And Kirk responds, worlds may change, galaxies disintegrate, but a woman always remains a woman.
Controversial thoughts in this modern era.
I mean, it's certainly a little bit dated, but I mean, you know, the romantic tension of the scene is very lovely, and you know, that actually for a science fiction show, Star Trek had a very strong recurring theme of being anti-technology in some ways, or just, you know, having people remain true to, you know, their timeless whatever human values or characteristics. And you know, usually when cultures on original series Star Trek were shown to be like mechanized, it was a problem, or it was, you know, they let their technology get away from them. So this is just another example of that.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Hey,
and it is always explored. I can't wait till we get to that more with the ultimate computer.
Definitely.
And
one thing I got to say, sorry, about this scene real quick, is that
absolutely,
this wonderful smooch coming up is Barbara Anderson. I found out later, I think in the Cushman book, had a really bad cold sore on her lip, you know, herpes, and you know, they covered it up, but you know, had to give old Bill Shatner a big smooch, but you know, that's show business, I guess.
Oh yeah, really. I guess
You know,
You're right. She does.
there were a lot of things I was expecting to talk about when I woke up this morning. Herpes was not one of them.
I guess it hadn't been resolved in the 23rd century either.
Apparently not. No. Thank heavens. So Shatner has herpes. Great.
Well,
good to know.
wait, was it herpes or a cold sore or
Same thing?
I think it's
same
the
thing?
same thing. Well, I don't know, but I guess I thought they were the same thing, but I'm not a medical professional, so I don't know.
Well, there's two different kinds, and let me know that I don't know how I know this, but there's oral and there's genital herpes. They're two different types, but yeah, so it's not a huge deal.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Sorry, I don't mean to bring any awkward conversation. Well, I did.
No,
you don't want to be awkward.
You're bringing up a fact from the show. It's okay.
Yes.
It's a thing that she has.
Well,
while filming,
and she's a beautiful gal. I mean, it would be hard to say no. But
she's
anyway.
39.
39 forever.
You could, and you know what? This is going to be a recurring topic on the channel now. Who on Star Trek has herpes? Anyway, moving on.
Oh, I thought it was Spurpees, as invented on the Clobbering Times channel by Raquel and
is it Spurpees? What?
Yeah, space herpes.
Space herpes.
So yeah, anytime there's some kind of heavy romance, Spurpees is feared. So I just want to say hello to Cam.
Hey, Sandra.
He says hello to Jill, Scotty, and Tall. And all the people in the chat. Great.
Hello.
So,
but yes, Captain Kirk is falling in love with Lenore.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Matt G says to give me a tip so I can do an all-nighter at Applebee's. I don't know what that means. What are we going to be doing at Applebee's anyway?
Bottomless French fries or something.
Okay. Oh yeah, and Snortopoopus talks about all the good things in Star Trek 4, which of course we know about. Prolonging the life of a terminal liver patient. Which are also, effects on the timeline. Leaving behind the Klingon weapon, but will ignore transparent aluminum. Excuse me, aluminium.
Aluminium.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And John Rendell says that cold sore showed really bad in the final scenes.
Yeah.
Space herpes, says Edgetime.
Spursies?
Well, it's not Spursies. It's Spurpees.
Oh, all right.
Okay. Just checking out the chat, and okay, we'll get back to it. Finally, Spock does his own research in the next scene here. And we finally get the whole story when he tells McCoy what he found out. According to our library banks, it started on the Earth colony of Tarsus 4 when the food supply was attacked by an exotic fungus and largely destroyed. There were over 8,000 colonists and virtually no food. And that was when Governor Kodos seized full power and declared emergency martial law. Kodos began to separate the colonists. Some would live, be rationed whatever food was left. The remainder would be immediately put to death. Apparently, he had his own theories of eugenics. And McCoy says, unfortunately, he wasn't the first. And so here, I think McCoy could be referencing the atrocities of World War II. But I'm wondering if, at this point, any of these writers have been throwing around Gene's idea of the eugenics wars yet.
I think, you know what, it's a nice sort of foreshadowing, if you will.
It could be. And Spock continues, perhaps not. But he was certainly among the most ruthless to decide arbitrarily who would survive and who would not, using his own personal standards. And then to implement his decision without mercy. Children watching their parents die. Whole families destroyed. Over 4,000 people. They died quickly, without pain, but they died. Relief arrived, but too late to prevent the executions. In Kodos, there was never a positive identification of his body. And so now Spock is finally caught up with what Kirk is doing, suspecting Caridian is Kodos.
I do find this, I don't know, just this history, this setup in the episode really, really fascinating. I mean, thinking about this character, Kodos, who is clearly the villain, but just think about what else could he have done in that situation? Would it have been better to let, and that's a big philosophical thing, but would it have been better to let everybody starve to death rather than apportioning the food that was out, or better to have been a random selection versus his standards? It's a very difficult, it's an impossible situation, really. And then what would have happened if the supply ships came later? How would he have been considered? It's just so interesting.
That's true. We don't know how impossible it would have been to ration. Clearly, it seemed like a very desperate situation in which rationing wasn't possible. Otherwise, I don't think he would have gone to this extreme, because it does seem like Kodos is very regretful of everything.
Yeah, I think he's somewhat sympathetic, really. Somewhat.
Well, and if it was a matter of survival, and that was the only thing that was on Kodos's mind, I can accept that. But the nature that Spock describes is that he was like, okay, you're good. You can live. You don't do much. Please head this way.
Yeah,
that's right. That's the part that's wrong, is his personal choices, the eugenic side of it.
Yes.
Deciding who should live and die based on his own merit.
Yeah.
Like it's a matter, if it's a matter of survival, that is very different than a matter of who is beneficial to the colony and who is dispensable.
Yeah, no, that's of course an excellent point. And if he's doing things like breaking up a family, even having some rationale in his mind. Oh, you're a great mechanic, or you're a good physicist, so you get to live, but your wife doesn't do anything, so she's going to die. Obviously, he's lost the plot. If that's his,
totally. Like, even if you think about Geordie LaForge being on Tarsus, and it's point. Like, well, you're blind. We don't need you. And he's one of the most brilliant engineers in Starfleet history. So,
and a pretty good helmsman too.
Pretty good helmsman as well. And he's taken command.
Yeah.
That's why I think Kodos's point of technology taking away humanity is interesting, because he kind of takes away the humanity in his choices for who should live and die.
It's also,
like you're saying, breaking up families.
It's also worth noting that Riley and Kirk were spared because apparently they're exceptional.
Yeah, which that doesn't bear too close examination. I mean, Riley would have been, he was a tiny kid, but they killed his parents. So I wonder he must have had a really good singing voice even then. So they spared him.
Brilliant singer, yes, even at a very young age.
And Cam has to get going. So see you later, Cam.
See you, Cam.
And Captain Finity says, I heard, Gorilla, I heard the same thing. Waiting for more information. Okay. Oh, okay. Gotcha. There's something.
Oh, are there world events happening?
Yeah, there are world events happening.
I don't care. I'm here to not talk about the world.
Yeah, right. Real world stuff happening. And yeah. So
I got a 4-alarm hangover, and it's either your laser beam or the whiskey, but either way, I'm ready to make history.
Mm-hmm. So, in engineering, Riley is the only one on duty, and he hasn't touched his food at this point. He's upset about his demotion. He's lonely, so he asks for some communication with the rec room and asks Uhura for a song. So she sings
Beyond Antares
very beautifully.
Yeah.
So while
he's
what? Yeah,
I want to dress up as Kevin Riley for Halloween.
Okay. That's not too difficult.
No, it's not. Wear
a uniform.
Yeah. So that's my
plan. He made the most of those appearances.
Very memorable.
He did. I wanted to see more. So while he was enjoying the tune, someone off screen uses a squirt bottle to poison Riley's milk.
Yes. Lenore sprays herpes into Riley's milk. First things first. I used to work in the restaurant industry. I don't think milk is a complimentary beverage to whatever these cubes are.
The food cube. But how do
And
you know what these food cubes look like? Or taste like, rather.
like, unless they taste like chocolate, why do you have a glass of milk?
They probably taste like chunks of cantaloupe with food dye that have been sitting under the lights for 2 hours. So probably not too good.
I'm assuming that they taste like celery.
The funny thing about the spray bottle I learned when I went to the the Star Trek set tour up in Ticonderoga is that that type of plastic bottle, that was a very recent invention. So, it was included to look very high tech. But, now that looking at it today, I mean, it makes it feel very dated, which is interesting. I mean, one of the things that they did on the show that was so good was just have a completely new aesthetic with just these, unlabeled light up buttons, which don't really make any sense on the consoles, but they're timeless in a way, as opposed to like using, I don't know, 1960s versions of computer, which would have looked terrible even 10 years later.
Well, we were even mentioning last week on Miri, like when they beam down, they need a medical computer, and they do computer things because the computer is so small.
Yeah.
Completely on, like what you just said, unlabeled buttons, but it's just like, oh, computer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a good prediction of laptops.
But
it just needed a keyboard.
Just needed some sort of keyboard. How quaint.
Then we're back to Star Trek 4.
Yeah.
So
anyway, after the spraying of the Windex,
lovely 23rd century food that looks like colored sponge cubes.
I always thought they were crunchy.
I don't know. I think the cantaloupe probably sounds.
It sounds accurate.
More accurate.
I've had dreams about those food cubes. I want to have one of them. I've never had one.
I think we can actually canonically say that they were crunchy, or at least there was a crunch added in, because in the Man Trap, I think, Kirk is eating them when he's telling McCoy to take the little red pills to make him go to sleep anyway, and there's a definite crunch emanating from his mouth. So who knows what they use? Probably a variety of things.
You pay an incredible attention to auditory detail. That is neat.
Oh, it's sad. It's really sad.
No, Sub-Commander Tall, you and I can be friends. We're good.
All right.
Not at all.
Hey, Claude.
Claude says, to play Kevin Riley, you need a gold sweatshirt, a glass of milk, and you need to be able to sing badly.
One more time.
John Reynolds says Formula 409 goes good with cookies. Oh, humor only. Do not attempt. Thank you for the
disclaimer.
Disclaimer, yes. Thank you. Thank you for the word that I was looking for.
Jolly Ranchers are gross.
You don't like candy.
I don't like candy.
Snortapoopa says the Merber used to operate a salon in the back of our house in the 60s. My friends and I took the tops of spray bottles from her salons and used them as phasers when we played Star Trek.
Totally, me too.
Oh.
Before Super Soakers, those bottles were the best squirt guns ever.
Well, because of this, Riley ends up drinking his milk and ends up sweating, choking, and collapsing. He collapses. And since he was on comms with the rec room, they were able to get him quickly to sick bay. And here's the next captain's log. Stardate 2819.1. Starship's officer Riley's condition worsening, Dr. McCoy making lab analysis to determine cause and antidote. Entire crew deeply concerned. So the poison fed to Riley was tetralubicol, which is a highly it's pretend, okay? Which is highly volatile lubricant used on the ship.
Okay, hang on. Let's reel it in, buddy. We're on a spaceship, okay? So if your problem is with the pronunciation of this fake medicine,
Did I mispronounce it? How do you pronounce it?
no, you're fine. I'm sorry. I'm acting out.
Okay, just checking. So Spock has the confrontation with Kirk about everything.
Yeah, and even then, as a boy, when I saw this episode for the first time, it sort of it strained my credulity that McCoy was arguing, oh, it could have been an accident. Someone could have mixed this stuff up. It's like, if you're keeping the milk anywhere near you keep like the industrial lubricant, this is not really how a starship should be running. But it's clearly somebody did this.
Right. Yeah, I don't know why McCoy says that. That is off.
Well, and also, like, we don't have replicators yet, right?
Right.
Yep.
So where do they keep the cows?
It's that Parmalat milk, or that milk that's shelf stable.
Yeah, condensed milk or powdered milk.
Powdered milk. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Astronauts. Got it.
Yeah. And yeah, so Kirk thinks that Spock is getting too deep in his personal business, but McCoy reminds him it's his job and you know it. So that's where McCoy finally comes around.
And this is one of those key moments in terms of the relationship of Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, where it's like Spock and McCoy, obviously, they bristle. But when it comes down to it, there is a mutual professional respect. And it's like, when Jim starts acting weird, I'm going to talk to you, okay?
Yeah, good point.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I know that wasn't on purpose, though. But
No, that wasn't. I can. Yeah, that happens sometimes.
There's a pretty similar scene in Obsession, which I mentioned earlier in the chat, where they are both in Kirk's quarters, Spock and McCoy, and I guess confronting him basically, or asking him to justify his behavior. And I mean, I like how it's done in this episode better. I think it was, it was earlier in the first season, and they were all trying a little bit harder, but they're good moments for sure to illustrate the dynamic between them all.
Claude in the chat says, "What the Lenore Caridian carried lube?" Well, yes, she had herpes. No judgment, just correlation.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, after McCoy says that Spock is doing his job, Spock continues with this quote. Even in this corner of the galaxy, Captain, 2 + 2 = 4.
Oh, I love that quote. It is so good.
I do too. That's why I do. Almost certainly an attempt will be made to kill you. Why do you invite death? And Kirk tries to reason that he wants to be absolutely sure that Caridian is Kodos. But Spock is certain. But Kirk says that logic isn't enough for him. He has to feel it.
Yeah.
But
whatever that means. But...
Yeah, exactly. Like, as soon as Spock shows up, and I'm like, "Hey, Spock."
I don't know. Yeah, I'm on Spock's side here.
I think this guy may be an executioner of 4,000 people. I got like 97% evidence. What do you think? And Spock says to me, "Yes, you're right." You know what happens after that? We get the guy.
Yeah, we get the guy. At the very least, he goes through the judicial system.
Exactly. I'm not saying we murder him. I'm just saying when Spock says to me, "You know what, Scott? You're right. then I'm going to be like, all right, let's do it. Whatever.
Mhm.
You don't
But
march
before-
through the corridors and carry his head down, whatever that line is. March through the corridors with his head in triumph, or whatever McCoy says.
Oh yeah,
Something
that's
like
right.
that. Oh, right. No, well, yeah. McCoy.
Oh
has a
yeah.
point.
Do you play God and carry his head down the corridors in triumph? That won't bring back the dead, Jim.
Yeah.
And Kirk says no, but they may rest easier.
Yeah. Come on. There's something to be said about justice.
Well, and it's funny using intuition in that way. And again, it's the same beat in Obsessions. Like, I have to feel this way. And it's like, do you feel it now? Do you feel it now? Maybe that's just indigestion. Are you sure? Or it's like, oh no, it's not indigestion. Now I'm feeling that he's guilty. So we'll go with that.
Well, but and I know we're sort of making light, but I do appreciate Kirk's I don't know, even resistance against his own impulses.
Well,
Because
yeah.
like it's something that comes up in Taste of Armageddon. It's like, you know what? Yes, I'm a killer, but I'm not going to kill today. That's all it takes. I'm not going to kill today. And so him wanting to be 100% sure
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
is
And
great.
it's in the right direction. I mean, it's not,
Yeah.
he's using his intuition to prevent, convicting someone too soon rather than the opposite. So
Yeah, that's like when you're on a jury and you want to be sure that the person you're convicting of murder is really guilty.
Yeah.
And Cam's back. He's got a little juice on his charger, and he says he's doing some chores, and that it's great to see me, especially when he can catch me live. But Scotty is okay too.
Shut up, Cam.
And Snarpoopa
I love you. I'm joking.
Snarpoopa says that Kirk says, I have to feel it, touch it, smell it, taste it, roll around in it.
Well done, Snortopoopas.
I can always count on him to make me laugh in the chat.
Why does Captain Kirk have to climb the rock? Because he needs to be one with the rock.
Well, I could quote that entire song, but I won't do that today.
Why did I? Okay.
Why is he climbing the mountain?
Because it's there.
To touch the mountain. To envelop. Yeah.
Oh my God. Stop talking dirty. You'll get us booted.
No, he is talking dirty in the song. He says to make love to the mountain.
Oh, yeah. Well, clip that. That's a new ringtone.
No, this is from the special features of Star Trek V.
This entire episode has been a special feature.
It is. So, but before they can continue their detective work, Spock's Vulcan hears the low hum of the phaser, and then they both hear it. It's on overload.
Yeah.
And so they're looking for it.
And again, this sort of harkens back in terms of Kirk's command style. He's like, you get out of here, clear the deck, I'll find the phaser. He's always giving people stuff to do. I think he's like a really good captain.
He's great, yes. And Spock does a great job carrying out those orders of evacuating and closing off the sections.
It's so funny that I'm admiring Kirk in this episode for being an excellent commander when he is completely usurping the use of the Enterprise for whatever he wants. Like, I think he's a great captain. I think doing these rewatches is making Kirk a better captain than Sisko. And Sisko was my favorite. But Kirk is getting so good in these shows.
Especially early, especially in the first season. He's really good. And I guess it's not like a grudge. It's not a personal grudge. This is, someone who could be a figure of historic importance and, might be good to track him down.
And based on this shot alone, this could be the guy who was selfish and self-interested who got half of the ship blown up.
Yeah, it had this happened, maybe. The history judges based on what happens.
Mm-hmm. And so, but he solved it. He solved it, and that's why he and even in Star Trek 2, he says, "I haven't faced death. I've mocked it. I've laughed in its face and patted myself on the back for my ingenuity." Oh my God, I love Jim Kirk. I'm sorry, I'm having a Kirk moment.
Yeah. Well, so anyway,
Don't apologize.
He finally see it. If I can continue, I don't know. He finally sees the phaser silhouetted against the red alert light in the bulkhead. So he gets it, and he finds a very conveniently placed disposal unit.
That I guess just goes outside the ship.
Yes. Well, it's a
Okay.
vent disposal, so it's pressurized. So I guess it shoots it out of the ship.
I guess.
We don't get to see that. That would have been nice to,
Yeah.
But again, that's what I'm saying
That's
about the
more special
remasters.
effects.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying about the remasters, is that the remasters are not special editions. They still maintain the original
That's right.
directorial style. It's an accentuation. When you see the new special effects, they are timed to the second to make sure that the show is what it was in 1966. They're not going to throw, what we need in this scene is 11 more tribbles.
Okay, you're right. I take back my
No, it's fine. But
desire to see this thing.
if you want to
explode.
see something blow up outside, I recommend the episode Trials and Tribulations, when they beam a tribble next to a tricorder and it explodes. Same thing.
Mhm. Oh, and Edge of Time says, "See on yon drear and rigid bier, low lies thy love, Lenore. Come, let the burial rite be read, the funeral song be sung, an anthem for the queenliest dead that ever died so young."
Nevermore, I think.
And so, yeah, I need to read some more Poe. Great.
I don't know if it was Poe. I don't know.
Or was it Shakespeare? I don't know.
It could. I don't know. I'm an illiterate drunk. So.
That was fun to read, though.
It was. It sounded great. New ringtone. Anyway.
You have so many ringtones.
I know. They cycle.
So Snortopoopa says, "Spock, you have to be the one on the horse." Oh, okay. Spock races. Oh yeah, it is Poe. Okay, I was right. Yay.
You were right. Yes. Yay.
I checked. I looked it up.
I know. Meanwhile.
So now in Caridian's quarters, Kirk finally confronts him. So this is like a one scene after the other of confrontations with Kirk, and this is where he has him take that voice test that Gorilla's Random Thoughts was talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm. Which is only 97% accurate for some reason.
Yes. And Kirk has Caridian read the words that Kodo said as the executioner.
Oh, do you have it?
Yes.
Can I read it?
Yeah, I could put it in the private chat.
Yeah, do that. Because I want to be selfish and I want to read Kodos
the
executioner's
I want you to read
speech.
it.
Thank you.
Anytime you want to read a thing, just ask.
Okay, here
it's a great speech.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
Caridian says, "The revolution is successful, but survival depends on drastic measures. Your continued existence represents a threat to the well-being of society. Your lives mean slow death to the more valued members of the colony. Therefore, I have no alternative but to sentence you to death. Your execution is so ordered. Signed, Kodos, Governor of Tarsus IV."
Chilling.
Damn! That, I don't like swearing on Jill's show. But that is like all of the swears. I'm like, can you believe writing that edict? That's insane. Our continued existence depends on your death. All right. They'll run with this. It'll be fine.
Yeah. And Kirk notes how well Caridian already knew the words. He didn't have to look at the paper very
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
While he's speaking.
Well, but also this is the first time that Caridian and Kirk actually meet in the episode. We've been talking about Caridian for the entire time, but this is the first time that they are face to face. And I kind of get the feeling that Caridian wants to be found out.
Yeah. Yeah. That he's
Yeah,
tired
he
of running.
does. Absolutely. He's
Remorseful.
Yeah, he is. He's not hiding very well, first of all. He still looks the same. You see those two pictures at the beginning.
Well, luckily he's not a ginger anymore.
Yeah.
'Cause when they
He
did
changed
that-
a few superficial things, but
yeah.
He's not trying.
I think he feels the weight of his decision. And I don't think he's even trying to justify it at this point. He realizes that massacre was a bad call. And as you were saying, Subcommander Tall, he's almost sympathetic.
Yeah. Yeah, he says something interesting here that sort of contradicts what he says later. That wonderful moment where he says, "I am tired." Then he says, I thought he always said, "I'm tired of the past." And then he said a couple other words, but I think I remember reading, he says, "The past is a blank. I am tired. The past is a blank." And then he almost seems to behave like he doesn't remember what happened. But of course he must, because later in the episode, he's sort of justifying things to Kirk when confronted on stage. But
well, yeah, he does, that, and that's very interesting. He does say that his past is a blank. I think that would be a willful forgetfulness.
yeah,
Right, he's trying to forget.
Like, I've tried to put this, I'm Caridian, I'm no longer Kodos. I put the past behind me. The past is a blank. That's where I think he's going, but it's still a justification for genocide.
Yeah,
right.
When I say almost sympathetic, I would like to emphasize the almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. He was in a very desperate situation. His reasoning was that he killed 4,000 to save thousands of others. And he believes he did what he had to do to save those lives. But the problem, of course, is that he used eugenics to do it, deciding who was worthy. And,
also, where's the mother?
Good question. No, that's a great question. It does make you wonder, did he decide she wasn't valuable enough and therefore at great personal sacrifice for himself, in his own weird way, justified that, well, she's not, a valued enough citizen, so she's going to meet her end too.
Yeah.
Wow, that would have been dark to explain.
That's crazy. If he actually sentenced his own wife, the mother of his child, if he sentenced her to death as well, maybe he would have. Maybe Kodos did that as representation of how committed he was to the cause.
Yeah, that's definite headcanon now for sure. I love that.
Yeah, that well, he also talks about how people have become mechanized and electronicized and not very human. But he
Sounds
could
like
be
that
talking.
Cogley.
He could actually be talking about himself, since he made calculating decisions himself in who he chose to kill, and that would have been magnified if he also killed his wife. Wow.
But that's not anywhere.
Yeah, no, that's not anywhere.
Right now.
Well, you did, Scotty.
Also, it's really interesting to see paper on Star Trek. Where did they get the trees?
From ship stores.
There are trees?
Well, the paper
Yes. Like, we haven't seen a printout since the cage. Nothing has been printed. It's always been, anyway. Sorry.
Yeah, it's always on the tablets or the computer. You're right.
We're talking about Star Trek. I'm not shopping at Staples. I apologize for being caught in the stationery aisle.
So Riley overhears from McCoy why he's in sick bay and who tried to kill him. And that'll come up again in a minute. And we get another captain's log. Stardate 2819.8. Suspect under surveillance. Strategic areas under double guard. Performance of the Caridian players taking place as scheduled. And Lenore continues that theme of when times were tougher. So,
Back when I had herpes.
Yeah. And utopia, hadn't been achieved yet. Her father knows about these times, having led that famine. She says Hamlet is a violent play about violent times when life was cheap and ambition was God.
Yeah. I thought this was an interesting soliloquy.
Mm-hmm.
Just in terms of, it's almost framing entertainment as being like it's all okay. You know what this is? This is a trigger warning for people of the 23rd century. This is when you show up and you say, okay, I know this isn't the way it is now, but this is the way it used to be, and this is the representation. Like, in terms of popular entertainment, movies aren't really a thing in Star Trek until you get to Voyager and Enterprise, but I don't like that part. Like, this is, distraction is usually through music, not necessarily through performance.
That's a very interesting point about it being kind of like a trigger warning or even just a way of explanation to, the audiences of the future who, have evolved beyond murder and vice and lust or whatever. They're free of many of the, as Landru said, the ancient evils. So, but it's maybe perhaps not meant to warn them that they might get upset, but it perhaps explain to them because they might just be confused by what are these people doing, just willy-nilly killing each other and plotting against each other. But it is a very interesting soliloquy.
I think you two explained that pretty well. And because they wouldn't know in the future that these kind of things, why these things would happen this way.
Eugene Bird in the chat says, so beautiful. Lenore, not the speech. Fair enough. Oh, everybody gets to watch it.
Yeah.
Does anybody work on this ship?
It's a slow day. It's Friday afternoon.
It looks like Discovery. Everyone's just sitting around watching TV. Oh, no.
Yeah,
Riley.
okay, so McCoy realizes that Riley is gone, and Kirk knows that Riley is headed out to do what he thought about doing himself, and getting vengeance against Kodo's actions.
Mm-hmm.
And in parallel, the play of Hamlet, they're currently talking about the revenge portion of it. And Riley wants that revenge. Kodo was responsible for murdering his parents, but Kirk orders him to give up the weapon and take it from him.
Oh, man. Gorilla, you're so dark.
Gorilla. Oh, my God. Yeah.
That's really dark. I don't even want to put it up.
No, I'm not putting that up either. But
No.
yeah. We read it, Gorilla.
Yeah. Anyway.
It's not cheaper if you have to pay for it.
No,
I mean,
don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Don't
okay.
talk about
All right.
So anyway, Riley gives up his phaser when Kirk requests it. And you know what? I thought that was a good moment. I thought that was nice when Kirk was give me the weapon. And
that's
Riley
an order.
that's an order. and Riley does give it up. There's no fist fight, no fisticuffs, mutual respect and understanding. Like, this is, I don't know if this is a handshake, but I think it's a trusting handshake. Yeah, fine. Here's my phaser.
Yeah,
I
between
was
two
wrong.
survivors.
Yeah.
But he
Like,
trusts them.
it's a really touching moment in my mind.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I think they have this this bond, even though their history is somewhat weird because Riley was a big pain in the rear end in the Naked Time. They have this thing in their past when they were both children, and yeah, I think you can read a lot into that.
Like, even the guy that I don't like from my hometown, I hope that I would be able to have that sort of understanding because we both came from the same place.
Good point.
Agreed. And
I bet we're looking at the same red velvet drapes that wound up in Spock's quarters in Amok Time.
You know what? I didn't like the use of plywood in the set building of this episode. I was like, where'd you get the plywood? Where are the cows?
They're with the trees down there. And
the company has the set.
No, it was just a moment that I was like, oh, right, I'm watching a TV show. This isn't a documentary.
So Kodos tells his daughter that he heard, he uses more flowery language than this, but that he heard from Riley and that he thinks, he's going to have to fess up pretty soon. But Lenore contradicts that. She's now very proud, unsympathetic, not at all regretful. Very almost excited that she's killed 7 of the witnesses and only has 2 to go.
Yeah. This is crazy.
Well, she does crazy very well. I love the shift in her character from just pretending, because she's throughout the episode she's an actor being an actress, pretending to be someone she's not. And here's her true self coming out, and it is terrifying.
To her father. Yeah, it is terrifying. It is. This is like Friday the 13th part 1 when it was Jason's mom.
Yeah, this was the whole mystery of this episode, because
exactly.
Of course
who's killing people?
We know from the beginning that Caridian is Kodos. You see the picture? Yeah, that's him.
But who's killing the people? Is it Caridian?
Yeah,
No.
That was the question, not the answer. It was Lenore. And Caridian is horrified by this because, he's not necessarily evil. He just made very wrong decisions.
Yes.
In desperate times.
He still murdered 4,000 people. Let's not get that out of the way.
He murdered. Kodos, the executioner. He murdered people.
He earned that title.
He earned the title and should be judged on his crimes.
You're bad and you should feel bad.
He should.
But I guess at least for him, he felt he had she has a choice. I mean, she doesn't have to kill these people. I mean, he didn't have to kill those particular people, but obviously it was a desperate thing. And she's just sort of out to protect him.
Yeah, and Caridian is heartbroken by this because he thought his daughter was the only person untouched by what he's done. And now he feels like he has nothing. And it seems that the madness that overtook him when he essentially became a dictator and killed all of those people on Tarsus 4 is an attribute that he passed down to his daughter. She believes she's only killing those who's threatening his life. And
also there is something to be said about the fact that he recognizes the murderous streak in his daughter. And it's like, oh no, I didn't know you would be like me. Like there is a heartbreak from Kodos.
Absolutely. It's a really brutal moment for him for this one child, 19, that you think is innocent, is actually tainted through and through with, it's has the sins of the father in her.
Yes. And she disagrees that those people she killed were innocent. She said, they were dangerous. I would have killed a world to save him.
You know what? Okay, hang on. Can you go back to?
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Cardinalson in the chat says, there are Cardassian war criminals with fewer kills than that. Now, I have a question for you. Who do you like better? Anton Caridian or Gul Dukat?
That's an interesting parallel because they're both two antagonists
Genocidal maniacs.
genocidal. Yeah, they're obviously Gul Dukat was a genocidal maniac on a much grander scale, and he had much more time to develop. And he went not just from an antagonist, he became full on evil eventually in the series.
Well, yeah, he became Satan, but but Gul Dukat killed way more people than 4,000.
He did, but what they have in parallel is that they both think that they did it. What they did was the right thing to do. That the people that they were doing this to, they believed that they were helping.
You know what? I think it's conversations like these that make me come back to this show.
It is a fascinating topic. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of Deep Space Nine. I've seen some of it. Still waiting to watch that. It's only 30 years old, but I think with Gul Dukat anyway versus Caridian, presumably Caridian was, doing his job as a governor and everything was hunky-dory. He wasn't seeking out opportunities to inflict pain or expand power. And then this terrible situation arose and he became kind of deranged by it. Whereas I think Gul Dukat probably from an earlier, more neutral position was interested in dominating and
well, there is
agreed.
There is an interspecial disparity.
Right. True. He Gul Dukat killed millions of Bajorans, but he thinks that those Bajorans he says that he was kinder to them than the previous overlords or whatever they were, and that they should be grateful to him. So there was
Bajor,
there was his insanity.
Is Bajor Star Trek's Alderaan? Like, they're peaceful. They have no weapons. They're just a deeply religious people.
Well, no, they had warp drive and everything, but the Cardassians destroyed.
Sails.
They did, but the Cardassian destroyed all their warp ships. So I guess they haven't been able to rebuild yet.
Yeah, but like no, come on. I'm sorry. We'll talk all about it when we talk geography and fictional universes next week on our new podcast. Is Alderaan Bajor?
From A to B.
Yes, thank you. Meanwhile, Shatner, handsome devil. And there's the 39-year-old. And the guy, you know what? I bet that guy is 42. The actor who played Anton Caridian is 42 years
Probably
old.
Not.
No, they aged
you're
really
right.
quickly.
They lived hard in those days.
Yeah. That man drank gin every day. And when he wasn't drinking gin, he was drinking coffee and milk. He chain smoked and he ate red meat. Nothing but red meat. Anyway, that's my review of the actor who played Anton Caridian.
Well, the guy who, the one who played, Van Gelder, Morgan Woodward. I mean, he had very light hair anyway, but he was only, I think, about 47 or 48. Yeah.
I'm not saying I look good, but compared to these guys, for a 44-year-old, I would look like Lee Van Cleef in 1966.
Yeah.
He was 56.
That's not old enough to look that old.
So compare with Tom Cruise at 60.
Yeah, exactly. Look at Paul Rudd.
So Lenore steals the phaser and goes on stage. And
yes,
And I mean, her acting as being completely insane is really fantastic, but they amp it up by doing something special with their eyes.
Oh no, and you know what? She is a really good crazy person.
She is.
Yeah.
I can see why they hired her for this here at the end.
Mm-hmm. Even the oh yeah, no, I remember the twinkling in the that was really good.
And so she's ready to kill Kirk.
She's ready to kill anybody who could threaten her father.
That's right. But her father steps in the way and takes the shot himself.
This is a really dramatic scene, but that particular slide, can you go back to it? There it is. Like, like I kind of like based on the facial expression and what's going on. I understand that's a phaser. I'm not going to make this dirty, but I just hear the sound. Goo.
Okay.
Arr. No. Mall. Anyway, thank you for the slides, is what I'm saying.
You're welcome.
They're good
Lenore,
slides.
thank you. I enjoy taking them.
Except when it's Event Horizon. But Lenore is
Right, no, I did not enjoy it.
heartbroken.
She is.
She killed her father.
And Kirk takes the phaser as she kneels over his body. She says, Father, Father, O proud death, what beast is toward in thine eternal cell, that thou, such a prince, at a shot so bloodedly hast struck? The curtain rises. It rises. There is no time to sleep. There is no time to sleep. Crap. Okay, sorry.
Oh, it's getting to be that time.
Well, not quite yet. But here's the end of the quote that I'm completely mangling and destroying.
Oh, you are, yes.
The play's the thing, wherein we'll catch the conscience of the king. And I knew I couldn't do that quote justice or anything, but I had to read it because it has the name of the episode in it.
Roll credits.
From Ham, and it, the quote from Hamlet. Oh my goodness gracious! Eugene Bird tipped $20. That is way too much. Thank you, Eugene Bird. I really appreciate it. It's never expected, but definitely thank you. Wow,
You can get a lot of food cubes for that.
I can.
A lot of milk.
No, I'm food cube rich now.
What's this stuff that you put on herpes to make it go away? What is that?
I don't
gel
know.
Or something? I don't know. Thank you so much. You know what? I apologize that you think that this was worth $20.
Yeah, me too.
That was rude. I again apologize.
No, well, I'm having a lot of fun, and
I am
just
too.
talking about it with you guys is it's enough for me.
Well, and you know what? I learned culinary skills from Sub Commander Tall earlier. So all in all, this is a big win.
And Snortopoopas Cuber says, I love it when Barbara Anderson's character went crazy in Ironside and pushed Ironside down an empty elevator shaft.
Oh my God, was that her? Who pushes a guy in a wheelchair down an elevator shaft?
So in the final scene, they talk about how she went to a hospital where she still believes her dad is alive in theater.
Yes.
And performing, and then somberly, and we're done.
Well, no, we're not quite done. We're not quite done.
Okay, tell me what I missed.
Mr. Leslie is at the helm. And as far as I know, this is Mr. Leslie's only line. We have to keep track of this. Like, I love Farrell. Remember Farrell with the giant eyes? Like, I love that guy. He shows up. Lieutenant Kyle, everyone loves him. But Mr. Leslie, he's throughout. He is in all 3 seasons, and I'm pretty sure this is his only line. I was like, that's what he sounds like when I watched this.
He says, "Leaving orbit, sir."
Yes, that's it. I think it's his only line.
Oh, can I make one gentle correction? He does have one other line, although I love Mr. Leslie, and I'm anyone who is who even notices him is on my good side. So I appreciate you pointing him out. If you remember, well, we'll get there, I guess, or you'll get there in This Side of Paradise. He has one other line, which is more memorable when they're
Okay.
when they're lining up to beam off the ship because they're all spore happy,
Right.
and Kirk says, "This is mutiny," or something like that, and Leslie says, "Yes, sir, it is." But that will be coming up.
It's even shorter than this line. That's great.
Nice.
Well, I'm glad I'm in your good
Well
books.
remembered.
Anyway, big shout out
That
to
was a
Mr.
good note.
Leslie is all I wanted to say.
And Edge of Time wants to say peanut butter.
Yes. If there are no follow-up questions, yes.
Directed by Oswald Gerd.
He had a lot of esophageal problems, that guy, Gerd.
And Barry Trivers.
Barry Trivers wrote it.
Arnold Moss as Anton Caridian, or Kodos the Executioner. And Barbara Anderson as Lenore. Dee Kelly is Dr. McCoy, and Grace Lee Whitney in her final appearance. Meanwhile, who played... Wait, hang on a second. Where is he? Where's Mr. Leslie?
He's not in the list.
Damn it! But Bruce Hyde is Kevin Riley.
The actor was Eddie Paskey, who plays Mr. Leslie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, he just passed away last year.
Oh, but he'll... You know what? He's... As long as we remember him.
Indeed.
Snortopoopa seems to think that Leslie's longest line... You know what? I'm happy that Mr. Leslie gets more lines. Snortopoopa says, Leslie's longest line is, "I'm sorry, sir. We're all transporting down to join the colonists."
Oh, he's right. Yeah, that's before he talks about mutinying, but it's the same little scene.
Okay, that's cool. Either way, looking forward to that episode.
Me too. I love that episode.
Yeah.
Great. We get to see Spock laughing.
I am absolutely flabbergasted by the people in the chat and the people who are watching, the lurkers, like everybody. Thank you for being here. JD Lewis is here.
Yeah. Thank you to the chat and lurkers and everybody. But
I'm
also,
not trying to end the show. I just
no, I
wanted to
know.
say that.
But also, what do you guys have any final thoughts for this episode?
Well, I have a rating.
Okay. What would you rate this episode?
C+.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a great character episode, but not much happens.
Is that how you guys do you rate based on a letter grade or out of 10 or letter grade?
We're in
we do letter grades. Yeah, because I like using letters A through F.
Yeah. I mean, I quite like this episode, but you're right. Not a lot, there's not a lot of science fiction world building or kind of classic Star Trek sort of things going on, but it's just so interesting because it's different that I'm always drawn to it. And I think the performances are just so good. I mean, I will always love an episode for good performances, even if the setup doesn't make a lot of sense. So I guess I'll give it a B.
Mm-hmm. I give it a B too.
You know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna give it an A-.
Oh.
Okay.
I know, what a drastic switch.
That's dramatic. But exactly, there's not. We don't get science fiction like you said, but we do get some sociological history and anthropology, I guess, and the question on how technology has an effect on our humanity, or how the lack of it also has an effect on
All right.
it.
I don't like arguing
You
with you
can
in the
argue.
middle of
No,
your
go ahead.
review.
Go ahead. Argue right now. Do it.
You know what? I just didn't get. I didn't understand that you seem to be latching on to this mechanization of humanity.
Well, that's
And
because
like,
Kodos
is
does.
that it? How?
He talks about it.
Okay. He talks about it in a way that, well, he sounds like Sam Cogley.
He certainly mentions it, but they don't really make that explanation clear. I mean, it's obvious with like Cogley and like books versus computers or something like that, but it's not. I think
like
it's
Kodos,
just
Kodos doesn't do like a whole humanity versus mechanization. That's not
I think it might be kind of ironic because he ends up making losing some of his humanity and calculating decisions himself without the technology. So he's contradicting himself and his actions.
I think it's more of just an evil of man as opposed to a mechanization versus humanity. Like, I think it is a representation of just how bad people can be in the name of good. I am remiss in referencing who said this in the chat, but it is sort of a finding the former Yahtzee in Argentina after World War II kind of argument. And it's just like, there are bad people, and should they be held to justice?
And yes, absolutely.
And I don't like the mechanization and the eugenics of it. Doesn't really, like, even the eugenics doesn't make me think of mechanization, and that's why
I know. I don't know why. I don't know how. Well, you don't have to. Yeah, I don't know how they marry. I don't know how the two concepts are married either.
Yeah, it almost smells a little bit like this is a very cool line, and we're going to work this in somehow, but it doesn't totally work with the episode. I mean, I think that is a bona fide theme of Star Trek generally, of man versus machine, and how you can't let computers run your life, but it doesn't quite express itself other than that line in this episode.
Well, so Kodos was clearly pained and upset by what he did.
Yes.
Which is why he was trying to bury it, but he didn't go out of his way to bury it very well. Showing that he's been expecting this. He's been expecting to be figured out. And we can judge him for how he did it, because I definitely do. Using eugenics to decide who should live or die is definitely wrong. But it was clear that he was desperate and had no way to ration the food any other way. But I think actually that it should have been the choice of the person on how they wanted to die, either by starvation or by execution. Instead of Kodos having that power. He gave himself too much power.
What a horrible choice.
Yeah, it is a horrible choice.
Would you like to be executed, or would you care to starve?
Yeah. I mean, if that's the choice, then...
Yeah, I'm going with starving.
Right, me too.
Yeah.
But you may have even had some people would have been willing to perhaps give up their life if it meant a loved one could have survived, but they weren't even given that chance.
No, because you're not good enough, Geordie.
Because of course, who should live or die based on his own personal ideas of merit is what was wrong. And so
big sigh.
Yeah. But I wonder if there had been,
Can we agree that Anton Caridian is an asshole?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wonder if he hadn't given himself that much power and judgment on all of these people.
He didn't conquer the colony. He was elected. He was stationed there.
No, I know, but I mean, he put in martial law. What I mean by the power.
I live in Canada.
And yeah, but if he would have given them that choice, then maybe things would have been seen a bit differently.
Well, but again, it comes down to the selection of people.
Yeah.
Like if you are dividing, like, okay, so imagine this happened in past tense and the sanctuary cities were deemed, you know what, they're useless anyway, let's just blow them up. Like, that's what Anton Caridian did. He took the undesirables and said, forget it, you guys, we have better people. They have to eat, you don't. Boom, done. 4,000.
That is a very extreme version of what he did.
No, but that is exactly what he did.
Well,
he killed 4,000 people.
Well, but in that show, they had. I don't think that they were under any famine, or they shouldn't have been. The people in the sanctuary were.
Yes, I may be hyperbolic on this extreme,
that is a whole different story. That's way too much worms.
But if you had the sanctuary cities in past tense, then they're just people who are sort of dismissed anyway, as the episode says. How could humanity dismiss these people in this way? Like Dr. Bashir says it. And Anton Caridian, Kodos the Executioner, took it one step further. I'll show you how we dismiss these people.
Yeah, and past tense was the entire society failing as a.
Yeah, but don't worry about it, because there's going to be a nuclear war. Everything will be fine.
But this whole thing made me think of a line from Quark from Deep Space Nine.
Nice.
Let me tell you something about humans, nephew. They're wonderful, friendly people as long as their bellies are full and their holosuites are working. But take away their creature comforts, deprive them of food, sleep, sonic showers, put their lives in jeopardy over an extended period of time, and those same friendly, intelligent, wonderful people will become as nasty and violent as the most bloodthirsty Klingon. And
Quark is my spirit animal.
Can't argue with that.
And there you go. There's a review. We did it.
And so I gave it an A minus. You Subcommander, you gave it a B.
B.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I agree with the B.
2 B's. 2 B's and an A minus.
That's pretty good.
2 B. Anyway, so sorry.
Well, thank you for letting me pop in here. I'm going to have
You're welcome.
Head on out to pick up my daughter. But this was so much fun.
I'm glad you were here.
Thank you.
Good thoughts.
Yeah. So do you do this every week, or what's your schedule with this?
Yes, every Tuesday at the same time. And it was a real treat to have you share your thoughts, and you're extremely eloquent and fun to listen to. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you very much. And hopefully I can get back here next week. It was a lot of fun.
Cool. That'd be great. Just bring different vegetables to chop.
Okay. All right. We'll see you around the galaxy.
See ya.
Bye.
See ya. Bye.
Out there. Oh, he's lovely.
He is. And
so are we done now that he's gone? You don't want to hang out with me anymore? What's going on here?
Well, no, he's great. I really enjoyed his intelligence, wit, and eloquence.
John Rendell gives the episode A, 'cause Shakespeare. Agreed. J.D. Lewis says B+, solid episode, light on action, but heavy on character. That's why I jumped it up. That's why I went from C+ to A-, is because I was like, you know what? I did appreciate all of the interaction with Spock and Kirk and all of the interactions between my favorite people kept me engaged in this boring episode, and I have to give them credit. Like it's something that's missing when I watch the animated series, which I've been doing with you over on Pop Culture Curators show when we review them on Mondays. But when I watch that, there isn't like the nuance of performance. Like you
Right, because
don't
they're not all in the same room.
exactly. And so when I get to see something like this, where it's DeForest Kelley, William Shatner, and Leonard Nimoy in the same room, I'm just like, what a time to be alive. Like, I would have loved to have been anybody in that room. And to be able to see the stories that they tell, it just A minus.
Yes, that was a good interaction between all three of them. Even when McCoy was dismissing Spock at first.
Am I too
He
excited?
came around. No, you're the perfect amount of excited.
Okay. I feel like
it's appropriate.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
And also the guest actor was really great.
Yes. He was. He was great.
A lot of times the guest actor can make the show.
You know what? He is, when I think of people in the first season of the original series, it goes Kodos, and I don't know the actor's name. John Colicos, who played Kor, and Khan. Those are the bad guys.
Mm-hmm. Kodos is Arnold Moss.
Arnold Moss.
Snortopoopas says Fred Lubbins is listed as a stunt double in Arena, and Paul Baxley was another one who was doubled for Shatner. Paxi is listed as a double too. Apparently, it takes many doubles to stand in for the awesomeness of Shat.
True.
The Shat. Oh, the clapper.
Le Shat.
John Rendell says, okay. Thanks, Snortopoopas. Yes, it does. And Eugene says, agreed with you guys. You can be cool, but not as cool as Shatner.
True.
Snortopoopas says, on a related note, I need to hire a stunt bear to do my stunts on KDTV. Oh, speaking of KDTV, I'll be on King Dolphin TV tomorrow with Raymond and Tiger Stripes, and we're going to be reading from Raymond's book, chapter 1. Or
nice.
Yes.
Chapter 1?
From. I don't know if it's the whole chapter. It's a portion of it.
Nice. Wow. Don't forget to go check them out in King Dolphin.
Tomorrow. King Dolphin TV tomorrow, 5 p.m. Central Time. And John Rendell says, no one could fill your paw prints with such charisma. Oh, right. Yeah, you can't have a stunt bear replace Snortopoopas. You'd be able to tell. It'd be too obvious that it wasn't Snorty. Edge of Time said, Raid FFSI. Discussing the prisoner.
Wow.
I don't know what FFSI is, or I would
No,
put a raid
FFS is, it swears.
Oh, Daniel's Hot Topic says,
hey, Dan.
I agree with what Quark said in that episode of The Siege of AR-33. Quark is right on the money. Take away humans, creature comforts, and they will go nuts.
Well, but also I want to, the counter to what Quark says, because I still think that Deep Space Nine does adhere to the philosophy of Star Trek.
It does.
There is, I don't know the episode. I'm going to vaguely describe it. I think it's when Cisco goes back to Earth and finds out that the changelings have taken over Starfleet Command. There's the one admiral.
Yeah,
and
I remember that.
Before he goes, he's all frustrated because he's like, I just found out this stuff and I want to find out what's going on. And they're like, everything is fine. Everything is fine. Everything is fine on Earth. And he is super angry about it. And he's like, You know what? When you live in paradise, you think that everything is a paradise. But if you step outside of your like gated walls, you find out that there is some serious shit going on. So I have to go back to Earth, which is a paradise, but I have to
Oh,
tell them that it's kind of crumbling.
okay. I actually that the episodes you're talking about are the two-parter,
Yes,
Homefront and Paradise Lost.
exactly. Such good episodes. And they kind of
Mm.
reveal a lot about what's going on in the Federation. What was I talking about? Well, how did I start this rant? JD Lewis in the chat says, by the way, Barry Triver's next script, A Portrait in Black and White, died in development limbo, but was revived in season 3 as Let That Be Your Last Battlefield by Gene Kuhn under a pen name. Really? Well, that's cool. Because you know what? I know that Let That Be Your Last Battlefield is a little heavy handed, but I like that episode. Am I talking too much?
No, you're not. You're talking the perfect amount.
Okay.
Edge of Time says FFSI, Fantasy Fans and Science Fiction Channel Unplugged, number 6. I am not a number.
Okay. FFSI. See, I only saw FFS, and I thought that meant something else.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say it.
Okay, don't say it then.
Yeah.
You're good. Okay, so I hadn't heard of this channel, so I'll check it out. Thank you, Edge of Time. I always love any channel that I probably still can't find it. Nope. Oh well. Cam says, solid B. Great interaction between Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. Solid performances by the guest stars and the rest of the cast.
No Scotty though.
No Scotty. Mm-hmm.
What did Daniel's Hot Topic say?
Oh, he says that what Quark said went against Roddenberry's ideas of the future of humanity. That humans will be perfect in the future, but Quark says that you can't change human nature.
Right. Well, don't forget, Quark is a racist.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like,
I mean, just listen to how he says human.
Yeah.
Human.
New ringtone. That'll be my notification. Human. Yes. I am a human. Anyway.
Well, yeah, the utopia for Star Trek is based on reaching a time in our future where we can use technology to help each other. You know, everybody
but
go past.
See, this is one of the things. This is one of the things that sort of rewrote Star Trek history. Is the movie Star Trek: First Contact. The drive for humanity to go to the stars was no longer about curiosity. It was about joining a global community. And I think that's when Star Trek sort of started going like, oh, what? It wasn't about human excellence. It was about our place in the galaxy. And I'm fine with that. Like, I didn't mind the change. Heavens, I didn't even notice it. But am I rambling?
I don't know.
Maybe
a little bit, but maybe I didn't notice the change either. Because
I just believe in human excellence, and I thought
Starfleet is about
was.
Starfleet is about excellence. You know, the best of the best are the ones leading the final frontier.
Like, I'm fine with it. Like, I'm fine with that transition. I'm not, one of my favorite things in the history of Star Trek. What am I going to say? One of my best friends is a Klingon.
So Snortopoopa says, I would have preferred if the aliens in Let That Be Your Last Battlefield had been white on the top or bottom half.
Well, yeah.
Hmm.
Son of a white shirt, ahoy.
Yeah, he says to us, all the super cool Trekkies here tonight, hola and kapla. I wish I could hang, dealing with medical stuff, just stopping to leave a like and comment. No, you'll have a great show. Yeah, we did. We had a great show. It was wonderful.
Just rewind it. It'll be fine.
Yeah, and I hope you can rewatch it, and I hope you feel better soon, and things get better, and you get some good news.
I have been doing this entire show bottomless.
And Snortopoopas Cooper says, just remember that proper your sign word for human translates as tastes like pork, but not as smart.
Oh, no. Snortopoopas, let me tell you a story. Okay, so I went on a date once. I know, I was shocked too. But we had pork loin. And so we're into and it was beautifully cooked. It was an exquisite evening. I take my first bite and I say, I've heard that scientists say that eating pork is the closest you'll get to the texture of eating people. I thought would be interesting conversation. It didn't work out. I was fired.
You were fired for that statement of fact?
Well, no, because I ruined pork for her forever.
I've heard that before too, but I mean it's disturbing, but it didn't ruin bacon. I mean, it is definitely not
bacon isn't. No,
so
not bacon. Bacon's not people.
Well,
what are we talking?
Know that.
Welcome back to the Star Trek show, everybody.
No, I know. No, I know it's not.
I'm sorry. We'll talk all about this next week on our new show, Cannibalism. Tune in. We'll have recipes and special guests.
No, it's like when Matt Stone and Trey Parker have those little extra features on their DVD where they feed bacon to a pig. It's terrifying.
That is terrifying. Don't say that ever again. Don't bring that up.
I like to pretend it's veggie bacon, not
like
real
turkey bacon or something.
Yeah, turkey or something else.
Oh my god, I do not. You know what? I would like to make it my public announcement that I do not support cannibalism.
I do not either, but you were just stating a fact.
How did we get here?
It wasn't your fault that facts exist. I don't know.
All right.
Anyway, I guess don't mention that kind of thing on a date.
I didn't bring it up.
I guess you did.
I did bring up cannibalism. I did. You're right. Anyway. Sorry.
Anyway. Daniel's Hot Topic says Voyager EMH Robert Picardo has a pitch to play the Doctor again in live action Star Trek. I really hope that that means that Secret Hideout has been fired and we're going to get a new Voyager series. I don't know. Or no, none of that. We're going to get a completely new series. Nobody from any existing Star Trek, and Secret Hideout is not writing it. Somebody else has Star Trek, and we're going to get a new ship, new crew, and science fiction authors are going to write the scripts. And we're going to get as much as the Star Trek DNA from everybody who used to make Star Trek who's still around. And they're going to get together and make a new series. And Robert Picardo is going to be an EMH on that ship. And it's going to be so much fun. Yeah. And that's my dream.
Well, exactly. And I would hate to be the mall Santa who has to listen to that.
That's what I
do you
want for Christmas. That I want that for Christmas.
Anyone?
And Dorian on the bridge.
Oh my stars! That is too long of a ringtone. Hey, Dalek.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah. You know what's weird is that I don't know if we should stop. We have 16 people here.
Well, we have to stop because I gotta go.
Okay.
Go. My phone rang the alarm, but I turned it off before it started making noise. So
I should put on pants. Like now that you
yeah,
mentioned it.
put on pants. I will thank the chat.
Yes.
Thank you, Lord Dot says great show, guys, and thank you everybody for being here. Thank you, Lord Thoth, Edge of Time, Snort a Poop is Cuber. Always makes me laugh during the show. And John
Soylent
Rendell says Soylent Spam. We still don't know what it's made from.
People.
Soylent Spam is people. Evening to Dalek 451. And Diana's Hot Topic says DS9 is my favorite show. It was the show that got me into Star Trek, but I would love to see Janeway in 7 and the Doctor come back, along with some DS9 characters.
I just saw a clip from Birthright Part 1, and it was Geordi and Worf on the promenade, and for some reason, it made me so happy.
I love Geordi and Worf. They're great.
Well, and on Deep Space Nine, it was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, there is that crossover episode.
It's not very good.
No, it's not. Yeah, no, that is a really bad episode. But anyway, and with Klingons and stuff, and that's the crime there because Klingons are awesome. How do you mess up Klingons? Anyway, Snorpoopus Cuber says I always wanted the EMH on my starship and a TTRPG to be modeled on Dr. House. Oh yeah, that would be cool. That would be awesome. I want
Hugh Laurie is an EMH.
He's an ass, but he'll save your life. So yes, House.
I'm fine with that.
Me too. And thank you to John Rendell for hanging out, and Daniel's Hot Topics, and also Cardinal Sin.
The Cardassians are war criminals.
And thank you also to Claude Parrish. It's hard to retrain myself to not say it the way that Raquel says it.
You mean to say it properly?
She says Claude, but Claude told me to
one
say
is his name,
Claude.
The other is not.
No, he says to say Claude. I asked him.
I know. I was here for it.
I know. I was confused. And Cam, thank you, Cam, for listening to us while you do your chores. That's how I started watching YouTube, was because I had to do all these chores. I needed something to listen to. And thank you also, Captain Infinity, for hanging out. And Yamas Queen Jess. And Gorilla's Random Thoughts. Thanks for popping on for a couple minutes to tell us your thoughts.
Thank you, Gorilla.
You had some very good points about the investigation.
We were being really hard we were not being hard enough on the plot. I agree with you.
I did mention it, but I didn't.
The character interaction in this episode.
Right. I did mention some of the things that were the concern, but it's true. I do not wield the hammer of justice very hard unless I am really feeling it.
You have given me so many ringtones today. I just want every notification to be your voice saying, wield the hammer of justice.
Thank you to Matt G.
Thank you, Matt.
And
oh my stars, who gave you money?
That was Eugene Bird. So thank you so much to Eugene Bird. That was an incredible show of generosity for our little channel who just likes to sit around and talk around my channel.
Yeah. It's not ours.
I know. That's true. It's my channel. But today you get to be a part of it.
Yeah, I know. I'm grateful every time you let me show up and bluster about.
but you blessed her in such a beautiful way.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Eugene Bird. For me, YouTube is like a never-ending Star Trek convention, or just a convention in general, no matter what we're talking about.
I wish Captain Finity would understand that Edith Keeler had to die.
Well, he
We'll
wishes
get
he
to
could
it.
understand that it was a different timeline. But um
we'll get to it. We'll get
yeah,
to
we
it.
will. And thanks for stopping by, Mr. Brown Alliance.
Yeah, Mr. Brown.
And oh my goodness, I didn't even say hello to Sandra Feliciano. I didn't
I
realize you were
did.
here.
I
Okay.
said
Thank
hello
you.
to Sandra.
I'm so glad you said hello to Sandra because I missed her. I didn't see that.
So are we good?
Oh, yeah, I think we're good. I'm looking through to see if we had anybody else here. Oh, Pop Culture Curator is driving, so that's why he didn't.
Tim the Enchanter was born immature, as was I.
It wasn't everybody.
Yeah.
Who was born mature is what I want to know.
Walter Matthau and the lady who played Lenore. Anyway, if you or anyone you know seems to have herpes, please contact your local medical. Hey,
I
Lemon.
also missed Lemon Pie. Did you say hi to Lemon Pie for me?
I always say hello to Lemon.
Good. Okay, then in that case, I didn't miss anybody. Thanks to my co-host, Scotty.
That's what I'm here for. I do. I say hello.
Yeah, thank
and
you.
sometimes I
Oh
bluster.
no. JD Lewis is feeling sick. He needs to lie down. Have a great day, everybody. Yeah, I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope you feel better soon.
Green tea.
And so does Snortopupus. Yeah.
I recommend green tea.
So this is the part of the show where I show off the poll. We had a poll and I forgot about it. Where's the poll? Gotta find it. Give me a minute here. Let me close the poll, ending it now. And then I'm gonna share my screen. And I'm gonna share the poll. Where is that stinking poll?
Good tea. Nice house.
Thank you.
You know, I really wish they'd let us play music up here. Make these long trips go by a lot faster.
It's against regulations.
Yeah, I never understood that.
They just don't want us having a dance party when a proximity alert goes off.
See, that's a dumb reason. Because we'd already be on our feet, ready for action.
Yeah, so what grade do you give The Conscience of the King? So 51% in the chat said B to B, B minus to B plus. So 51% gave it a B. 35% gave it an A, 9 a C, and 3% gave it a D to an F. Wow, I'm surprised anyone gave it an F or a D. Wow, that's incredible.
Gorilla was here.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Okay, there you go. Okay, Gorilla was here. That makes sense. But I do want to end the show, but I forgot to get the clip for next week's episode, which I really want to get. So can you talk for me just for a minute so I can go?
Sure.
Yeah, so I can go get it. Yeah.
Okay.
Please do, just for a bit.
Sure. Well, and it's really fun to be able to hang out with you guys. I appreciate it. I suppose now would be the perfect time for me to plug my channel. If you haven't subscribed to the Phantasmagorium show, please do. Tomorrow night, we're going to be talking about the El Mariachi trilogy, which is El Mariachi, Desperado, and Once Upon a Time in Mexico. And that's going to be with me and the Incredible Cat. And in the future, we're going to be talking about Batman. And much to my chagrin, we'll be doing Lord of the Rings with a very special guest. And we're looking forward to that. Okay, keep going. Understood. It is a pleasure to be able to review these Star Trek episodes with Jill. Obviously, if you haven't, please, if this is your first time, like and subscribe, share, ring the bell. And also every Monday night, we review the animated series, which I've never seen. And so that is really great to see new old Star Trek that I've never seen before. It was crazy. The last time, Kirk and Spock mutated into fish people. Not kidding. So that was fun.
Oh yeah, that'll be the next episode of our animated series reviews on Pop Culture Carriers channel. The ambergris element is the ambergris element.
Yes.
And that'll be fun.
Yeah.
But for today, we've reached the end of our review of Conscience of the King. I hope you guys enjoyed the show.
Conscience.
And Cam says thanks again. And Sora Poopa says, so Scotty, what's your idea of a fun date other than cannibalism?
My idea of a fun date is hanging out and talking about Conscience of a King.
Okay, so we'll talk more Star Trek later. Next week we have one of my favorite episodes, Galileo 7, with with Spock. That's a big Spock episode, and I love Spock, so I'm excited. So let's watch a preview of that and talk about it next week. See you guys later.
Cheers.
Captain's log, stardate 2821.7. 7 of our shipmates still have not been heard from. Our normal searching systems useless.
Do you know what you've done? You've concerned yourself with only 7 people. You said something about a needle in a haystack. It's useless.
If they're not there, Commissioner, and they're dead by now.
We use virtually every piece of equipment aboard this craft in attaining orbit.
You mean 3 of us must stay behind?
Yes.
And who's to choose?
As commanding officer, the choice will be mine.
Mr. Sulu? Prepare to abandon search. Set course for Marcus 3.